want to share with you my current handheld rig for my Panasonic GH2. This current configuration is as of late September 2013. It's taken me quite a while to get to this point. The main thing that this setup was trying to accomplish was to combine the GH2 with a F&V R-300 ring light along with a Liliput 7-inch display field monitor. And this was quite a difficult, surprisingly difficult thing to do. My initial system, before I got the ring light, was a cam rack bracket. This one was all aluminum, and you can see I actually had some holes drilled and had the field monitor mounted in the center with the camera a bit forward, and then I had lights above on this. This worked somewhat, but it just didn't feel right to me. It actually felt heavy for some reason, but ultimately I decided to go in another direction. Shortly thereafter, I got the R-300, and I've been very happy with it. I like the flexibility. I like the different color filters that add on. But one of the problems I ran into was the fact that this light is really not meant for these smaller frame cameras, the crop sensors, the Micro Four Thirds cameras, and you can even see it here. I've had to raise the height of the mount for the camera, and then the camera's own mount is at its maximum extension in this configuration, just to keep it centered in the ring. But initially, the other issue was the fact that normally the light is rotated about 90 degrees from where it is right now. And as you can see, this is where the battery would normally go, and I prefer to use these large Canon camcorder batteries. It would bump right into the front grip of the camera and keep it considerably far away. But because I'm using a Panasonic 20mm f1.7 pancake lens, getting as close to this ring light is pretty important, because you get far enough back and you're going to start to see the perimeter of the ring light in your image. So my challenge came to be how I can create a system that uses those elements, but get them as close and as compact as possible. My initial 15mm arrangement used this C-frame, and you can see it's a little bit shorter than what I have now, which is still not a problem. But the idea was the camera would mount down here, and then I would support the ring light upside down up here, and that would put the battery mount from this side over to here, and then give me some room to get closer with the camera body. In that arrangement, the on-off switch and dimmer switch, or dimmer, was what would be sitting here in front of the grip. Not ideal, but not too bad. Not too bad. Ultimately, I decided on trying this out, and this is what I'm happiest with, and that is this two-piece frame, which gives me a pair of 15mm rails on the side at 90 degrees. So I can now rotate the ring light 90 degrees. You can see here I'm using now the original 15mm rail mount bracket that comes from F&V. This doesn't come with the light. You'll need to order it in addition to your light. I do recommend it, though. The one thing is, I kind of wish this material was not plastic. But, you know, the reality is the whole light is plastic, and it's been working perfectly fine. When I did have the light mounted upside down, I tried using this bracket here to attach to the quarter 20 threaded mount on the light. I just didn't find it to be as structurally sound as using their own rail mount system. It does present a bit of a gap that I wish wasn't there, but I'm dealing with it. So one of the unforeseen issues with this, though, was that the HDMI out, the mini HDMI out, actually interferes with this bracket. If I tried to put the bracket on the other side, I wouldn't be able to get my SD cards in and out. So that wasn't an option. But as you can see, what I've done is just added a gap that will allow the cable to pass through and hook to my field monitor. I have a 90-degree adapter on its way that should go down and then out and hopefully give me back about an inch, maybe just a half inch of space, but still some space to make this even more compact than it is. Other issues I had to deal with was power. And although I can still mount a Sony camcorder battery in the original mounting point on the light, I'd rather not. And one of the reasons is I'd rather not put that much weight on the light, but also I do eventually plan on using or getting a battery grip for the GH2 that will take care of this space in here, and then I won't be worried about running out of power on the camera itself within an hour, hour and a half of use. So I also don't like the idea of having the large camcorder battery on the back of my field monitor, because that's a lot of weight to be on the back of this thing. The nice thing is that this field monitor will run, the Liliput field monitor will run on anything from 7 volts to 24. In fact, I actually did a test where I ran this ring light and this field monitor off of one of these batteries, ran for an hour before my ring light went out. The field monitor kept going well beyond that. I just stopped testing it, so I don't know how long it'll ultimately last. But I definitely get a good amount of time even off of just one battery. So I managed to get a hold of this frame, which I'm very happy with. It mounts 2 batteries, only will work with both batteries in place. Gives me a variety of outputs. I think it's 7 volts, and then a couple of others, but mainly I want my 12 volt. So it goes to a splitter, and then to my field monitor and ring light. So I'll show you that right now. So they now run off of this frame here, which pleases me. I still had to make a bit of an adaptation to allow this to mount along the side of this assembly. So I have a adapter here and then a longer rod to make this fit. But I still wind up with an extremely compact frame. In fact, if I can line this up, I'm a good within 6-inch depth, which is for a hand carry unit is pretty shallow and compact. Initially, these grips were mounted below, pointing upwards, but what I found is that I would get a lot of jitter from movement in this direction. By mounting them up high, I get a bit more stability because gravity itself is pulling this whole assembly down, and so I'm a little bit more stable. I also like an arrangement where I rotate the grips both at an angle slightly forward and support it this way. That winds up being a nearly perfect balance for a nice steady shot that's handheld. And of course I have the top grip for some of those low angle shots. Some of the things I would point out to folks that are looking to do the same thing. I'm a big fan of the FOTCA connectors or screws or whatever these are called, because they're spring loaded and it allows me to reposition them as I'm tightening or loosening. Nothing else I have has that feature, which makes it very difficult to screw 2 things in next to each other. Eventually they're going to touch each other and you can't go any further, and that really gave me a lot of trouble. I'm probably going to order a big bag of these spring-loaded screw assemblies to replace all of my connectors on here eventually. So I recommend if you're going to be building a custom 15mm rig, you'll want to do that as well. Eventually, I plan to build a shoulder mount that adapts to this or uses as much of this assembly as it is as possible. My goal is to keep the camera as close to my torso as possible. So I'll naturally have the shoulder support very close, and that'll minimize the amount of counterweight I'm going to need. Still, I'm going to need to reposition the grips and field monitor forward. So those will be some problems to overcome in the future. But anyways, what I currently have I'm very pleased with, and I hope this helps you guys.